What's up, everyone? It's your boy, The Business, coming back at you live for episode 40 of The Business. Let's be real. Tonight's special guest is someone I was actually lucky enough to meet. I want to say I met her back in 2011, 2012 time. We ended up working together at Marina Jack. She became part of our crew with me and Tim Steller. And, you know, there was a few of us there, and her and Timmy really hit it off. Now have made a life together. And, you know, we've been close friends ever since. And I've actually had the luxury to watch these two flourish into a beautiful family and be able to have now a thriving art. You know, they do so much with each other. She was helping back him up, and then when she broke off and started doing her own thing with resin art, she was able to then make that flourish as well into her own separate format. And so I was super excited to talk to her. I've talked to Tim twice on the show. He and I have talked about her coming on, and she's just been so tied up with, you know, working and taking care of the family that she hasn't really had a chance to. But I was able to get her to come on today and, you know, come and talk about it and talk about her life and talk about what led to her getting into resin art and some of her, you know, deciding factors to break off and make that a life, you know. So with that being said, The Business, let's be real. Episode 40 begins now. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Business. Let's be real with special guest Ashley Steller. Ashley, how you doing today?
Doing good, Tony. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on. I kind of wanted to, you know, you and I talked about it many a times before about how, you know, what led you to finally get into resin art and stuff like that. But I'm gonna slow it down and kind of go through your whole life of everything and kind of talk about how, you know, you grew up in Washington, just outside of Seattle. And you know, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but Seattle, of course, is, you know, huge for art, and, you know, I mean, in all kinds of ways. Yeah. Can you somewhat talk about what it was like growing up in that area and maybe some of your influences at a young age?
Yeah, so music, obviously huge in Seattle. So I always love music, all different types of music. Grew up with grunge, obviously, as a young child. But art everywhere, lots of art, different types of art. I did a lot of arts and crafts growing up. I did sculpting, some knitting, painting, jewelry making, you name it. I would make homemade Christmas cards, just little homemade gifts for everybody all the time, and kind of what a lot of my friends did. We all like the little artsy things. So been doing a lot of art ever since I was little, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. You know, growing up in that area in the West Coast, you know, I know that sometimes it's a different lifestyle because, you know, everybody talks about how California is different, and I know Seattle's got its own way of life too. Mm-hmm. I guess, can you talk about what it was like though growing up in that area? And because I mean, you were there up until what, 11th grade, you said? Yeah. So you were up there until you were like what, 16, 17 years old. Can you talk about what it was like growing up in that area as well?
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. It does rain, like they do say. So, but that's why it stays so beautiful. And when you get those sunny days, it's absolutely just breathtaking. You do a lot of hiking. You do a lot of family time. You do a lot of parties. I remember growing up, we had so many festivals, and I'd always walk by vendor booths and be like, oh, that's so cool. They get to make their art and they get to sell it at a vendor booth. I'm like, that's really cool. So ever since I was a little kid, going to all these art festivals and everything, I always wanted to be an art vendor, like deep down inside, but I never knew that it would actually happen one day, which it did. So yeah, just big family things, everybody together all the time. And it was a great childhood growing up there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I kind of alluded to it a little bit, and I know that also while you were in that Seattle area, you had picked up dancing and you were doing ballet and lyrical, and you know what I mean, and you were doing some stuff out there, and you had joined in with a company. Can you talk about the company you joined in with and what it means, I guess, to be part of a company? Because I know some people out there don't know too much about dance, or those that don't know about dance, they don't know what it means to be part of a company, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started dancing at 5 years old, Pacific Northwest Ballet Company. I did ballet. Younger, I did tap, I did jazz. And then as I got older, I did more ballet, point, modern, and lyrical. And then around the age of 12 was when your feet developed nicely to do point. We had a new dance teacher come in, and she just absolutely adored me. And she thought I was a beautiful dancer, and she wanted me to join the company. And so that means that you're the top dog when you do spring performances. You have the company piece. You have the show, but then you'll have a company piece. So basically you get your solos or your duets and things like that. We did 5 nutcrackers. So I ended up being a lemon drop, a flower, and a snowflake. And I started off as a rat. So progression and dancing. And we would do Tremaine dance competitions out in Seattle. Paula Abdul, she was one of the featured dancers there. So that was really cool. I got to dance at a competition with Paula Abdul. So that was really awesome.
Oh, that is cool. I guess now if you could talk about what it was like, I guess, going to school in Washington, because I know like I talked about earlier, you then transferred from Washington to Massachusetts area. Can you talk about what it was like going to school in Washington before you made the move?
So yeah, it was just that little quiet hometown. Not that many people live there. And then I moved to a city of Massachusetts, Springfield, and I took the city bus to school. There were metal detectors when you walked in, and I was the minority at that school. So it was definitely a culture shock. I was there for about 6 months, and I was like, Mom, I think we need to move somewhere else. And so one of her best friends moved to Cape Cod, and we went to go visit her there. And so she just loved it so much. We moved to Hyannis, and that's where I graduated senior year in Cape Cod. So
yeah, no, that's awesome.
Hopping around. So the Cape Cod school was more kind of like my other hometown school, but very different because it was very island kind of ritzy people. And it was also hard because it was my senior year and I didn't know anybody.
Yeah. and I would suppose that in too had to be quite a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny because I wrote down in my notes as I was writing about when you made the trip out of Washington and out of North Kitsap, like when you made that move from that high school and went to Springfield. I was going to ask you what kind of a culture shock it was, and of course you I'm like, and I'm glad you touched on
the opposite.
Yeah.
But I survived. It was great. I made good friends, so it worked out at least.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I guess then after your senior year, you went to Cape Cod. You got through senior year, and then you did a semester of college, and then decided to move into the city.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I guess, what were some of your influences maybe to make that move then at that time?
I actually was working at an Italian restaurant, and this lady sat in my section, and she worked for this company called Legal Seafoods. And she wrote on the back of her business card that she just thought I was a fantastic waitress, and she wanted to give me a job opportunity. And I thought about it. And just one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith. And my mom helped me pack up, and we found an apartment, and I started working at Legal Seafood. And so great company to work for. Boston, definitely a beautiful, awesome city. Cape Cod's an hour away from home. So got my serving and bartending skills started out on the East Coast.
Yeah, I guess that was when you first, I guess, got into the whole food and beverage industry. Like, well, you said you were serving in an Italian restaurant, and then made it to, and then you were at, was it McCormick and Schmick's as well? You were working both.
Yeah, that was fun.
And you did that for a couple of years, and then you decided, I guess, to make a move back to the Washington area. Was there something that drew you back to Washington, or was it just the familiarity of trying to maybe possibly go back home?
Yeah, I just missed all my friends greatly. I was in my young 20s and it was fun out there, but sometimes you don't have those deep connections. And I really just wanted to get back home. I had some friends wanting to get married and have kids. And so I wanted to be there for all those experiences. So I went back for, I think, another 3 or so years I went back for.
While you were doing that, were you still in the food and beverage industry then at that point? What was going on then?
Yep. Oh yes. Serving, bartending at a nice place called Anthony's. It's very popular out there. I tried a little banking. It was not very fun. It was quite boring, so I couldn't do that for very long. And then I also tried to do. I had my own little spa business going on where I would get all these beautiful spa products and go to people's houses and throw these spa parties and try to sell those types of dealios.
That's cool.
That company, it was great, but it wasn't for me. I figured out. So I went back and kept doing the bartending and serving thing again.
Yeah. And now you and I know that you always had a passion for food, and you look at that as an art form as well. And, I don't know, people don't know probably that, when we get together, our families get together, we lay it down and drop some killer grub out there. Was that something that was like a love for you from the beginning of time? Like when you first got into serving, were you always like, I guess, attracted to the food side of it? Like it really wanted to do the food side as well?
Ever since I was born, I have been a big foodie. Weird little stories like my mom would catch me eating butter out of the fridge. She would give me pacifiers made out of steak. And then for birthday presents, she would wrap steak up for me like my whole life and give it to me as birthday presents. So I would do crab eating contests. So yes, food is my jam. And when I was in the restaurant industry, I would stand in the kitchen and I would just watch them and just try to figure it out. And I'd go home and I would practice and practice and practice. And so now I believe I've mastered many, many good things. So a lot of people love my cooking.
That's true. I know I do.
Thank you.
I'm like, we've done a lot of parties together. I'm always smashing whenever I'm around. Now you went back to Washington. You were there for, you said like almost 4 years. And then decided to save up some money to make a move. Can you talk about what were some of your influences to make that move to Florida at the time? I know you had a friend from the Boston area who was in the Sarasota area now, and she was just sending you some pics and kind of just letting you know what was the possibilities here. Can you talk about that time, I guess?
Absolutely. Yeah. So 2011, it was just one of the grayest whole entire year of Washington history. And then my girlfriend needed a roommate she was my roommate in Boston, turned really good friends forever, roommates again, back and forth. And she kept sending me these pictures. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? You actually live in a place that looks like this all the time. And so I did a lot of research and I worked 2 jobs. And I decided after a couple months, I saved up a few thousand and I was like, it's time. This is enough. I can do this. And so I packed up the car and I moved and I made it in 3.5 days. I drove very, very fast because I was ready to get there. And just once I got down to what was just over the border, still a little full of those normal evergreen trees or whatever. But once I started to see those palm trees, I got very excited. I even wanted to go dancing that night. As soon as I landed, I didn't care how long I drove. I was like, let's go dancing.
No, that's awesome. I mean, Florida's beautiful and people don't understand that sometimes. Like, I know it's our little East Coast thing that we have going on here, but you can get lost in so many different places in Florida. The Sarasota area is beautiful. So yeah, no, you made a good decision, I think, to come out here. I mean, and you've made some changes then for your life that, put you where you are today. So it's huge to come out here and do that. Now you made those moves. Was that in 2011 when you made the moves to come out here? Was that your, okay. And then, yeah, it's like, and then you made, so then you picked up one job and then you ended up, making your way to Marina Jack, and which is where you made some new contacts. I guess, can you talk about that Marina Jack life and what that started for you?
Yeah, I was working at a restaurant on Main Street. It wasn't too exciting, and I had always been driving around and noticing this beautiful marina and this beautiful building. And one day I was just like, I'm going to get a different job. And so I printed 3 resumes up, and then I was just like, I'm just going to go to Marina Jack. And so it's the first place I went, and I was hired right on the spot by Bruce. And so that's where that started, and that was awesome. I just had a great feeling. I loved working there. Such a cool place, a lot of cool people. Still have a lot of friends from working there, including you. So definitely a cool experience. And I met my husband there. So
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I guess that's kind of what I was talking about, was like you meeting up with Tim, like us all becoming friends. You guys worked there for a couple of years, I think, and then you guys decide to make a move after that, to go up to, I guess, the Hamptons, right, for a season, just to check it out and see what kind of money you guys can make up there. Can you talk about that, I guess, that idea of what you guys were looking to go do and what that experience was like?
Yeah, so that was a crazy cool experience also. But Tim's from Newburgh, New York, and we figured it was a 3-4 hour drive from the Hamptons. So we thought it'd be a cool idea to tie in some family time, as well as, and his friends as well as making some money. So we heard working in the islands and the Hamptons and certain little places, you do really well in the summer. And we thought it'd be a cool experience. No kids yet. So we went out there. We worked in 2 completely different style restaurants. I worked at a lobster house, very, very casual. And he worked in very, very fine dining where you had to tip out like half of your tips. But I would make more than him. So it's very, very interesting experience. We were also worked at a restaurant where it shut down at 8:00, and then the whole entire restaurant turned into a nightclub, and then you're just done working, and then everybody else takes over. So that was definitely an interesting experience too. I've never seen that before. But on the weekends a lot, we would drive back to Newburgh and we'd visit with the family and the friends. And then it was going to become wintertime, and we're like, well, let's just stay. We'll have some snow. It'd be nice to see some snow after a while. So we stayed for the winter, and then we also decided that we wanted to start and try to have a family. And so we had our firstborn child in New York at the same hospital as Tim, and even had the same pediatrician. And so that was a really cool experience as well. And then about 2 weeks after Camden was born, we went back down to Florida. We had a friend looking for a house for us, set it all up. Boys went down there first, set it all up. I came down with the baby, and then we're home happy in Florida again.
Now, after you guys got back to Florida, you guys decided, I guess, then to go ahead and take your vows and get married. Can we talk about, I guess, that experience for you guys when you guys did decide to come back, and what made you guys decide to get married and have the cool beach wedding that everybody wishes they have?
For sure. Yeah, we wanted to do it backwards kind of on purpose because we were already in New York and we wanted to have his family there with the firstborn baby. And then we wanted a beach wedding. So we planned it backwards, totally on purpose. And as a little girl growing up in Washington with those big, big trees and cold, cold weather, I thought that a beach wedding would be absolutely spectacular. So we planned it. We had the greatest time. You were there, and so you know that it was just one of the best weddings there was. We just had so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also cute too because we love Lido Beach, and that's where we got married, and we go there all the time just to be there, and we always just turn around and we're like, yep, this is where we got married. That's really nice.
Yeah, that's so cool. I guess then you went back and you guys rejoined back with the Marina Jack soon after that, after you guys made your way back. And can you somewhat start to talk about now, like where your guys' influences are going as far as like the art field? Because I know that Tim did a shark design out of some pallet wood that ended up turning into a lot more than, and it was really just him showing pictures of what he did, and kind of can you start, I guess, talking about the start of Steller artwork then?
Yeah. So after we got married, we were back at Marina Jack, and he got an idea. It's looking online, so I think Pinterest or something like that. He saw something, and then he saw pallets one place, and he put 2 and 2 together, and he went around to the restaurant and he asked a bunch of people if they had a jigsaw, and one person did, and so we borrowed it. He drew on a shark, cut it out, and we were just going to put it in our kids' room just for fun. And then it was the year that all those little string lights started coming out, those LED lights, and I was like, oh, hey, let's wrap one of those on the back of that, and then it'll be his nightlight in his bedroom. And then we did that. He showed a bunch of people at Marina Jack, showed a bunch of people at home. People are like, oh, I love this. I love this. So we started making just for friends and family, just for everybody. And then we started doing just little tiny farmers markets in Siesta Key. And we did that for a little bit. And then we would start doing art shows. And then we would be doing bigger farmers markets. And so it kept getting bigger and bigger. And people were just absolutely just loving it.
Yeah. I got one of the early pieces. I was pointing to it back. I was, as you were talking, you were like, for family and friends. I'm like, yeah, I got one of the early pieces back here. And yeah, no, it was so cool at that time. And I guess as you guys started to see that it was starting to flourish in a way, and really, I mean, he had so much, I guess, as far as orders were starting to come in, like he was starting to get almost so many orders in that he wasn't able to do a daytime job plus do this as a side hustle, to where then this became the main hustle. Can you talk about, I guess, what those decisions were in both of your lives? Because that affects you guys as a family to make a decision like that, to go ahead and go full force towards the art thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was also going to nursing school for some time. And during that time, we also decided, because we're out in Siesta Key a lot, we saw this restaurant that we wanted to work at. So we both left Marina Jack and went to the cottage. So we were getting really good into the art business. And so Tim could only bartend just a couple nights a week here and there. And then he was just basically doing full art while I was still going to nursing school and working. And then I left the cottage to go to Tommy Bahamas because I just wanted a different feel. I wanted to get out of Siesta Key and kind of try out Lido Key, hop around. So I was there for about 6 months. And during those 6 months, Tim kept bringing up this new art firm that was out there. There was this artist called the Mermaid Trash, and she's from the East Coast of Florida. And she was just making this beautiful ocean art with resin. And I was like, that's beautiful. I was like, there's absolutely no way in the world that I can do that, but you're hilarious. And so I pushed it off for months and months and months and months. And then I was like, all right, fine, I'm going to do it. So I went on Amazon. I just bought a gallon, bought some pigments, practiced and figured it out. And then I made one that actually looked pretty nice. And he posted it on his Instagram, and it sold in 20 minutes for $80. And I was like, this is amazing. And at that time at Tommy Bahamas, it was just very stressful. It was I think we were just short staffed, and I was just working it was just like, it was crazy. So I was very, very stressed. And so I made a decision that night. I was like, I quit. So I quit. And I focused on practicing with the art for a while. And so I did that. And then I also went back and picked up shifts here and there at the cottage for some time, just in case we didn't have any sales going on or anything like that. I always have a place to work. I actually am still on their schedule if I want to work anytime I want to. And so is Tim. So that's really cool. They're an awesome company.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, so I think it's been now, though, a year and a half, almost 2 years that I've not really worked. I picked up maybe like 2 or 3 shifts just for fun, just to get out of the house.
Now, is that little niche you guys got with the cottage and stuff? Is that what Mike Grantham is like? Is that something that you guys worked out with him, that we're like, hey, if you ever really need us, we're here? But
well, our main manager, Steve, he just loves us. He made the decision basically, and I'm sure Mike's fine with it. So we still are.
Steve's his right hand man. Yeah, Steve's his right hand.
Oh yeah, we went to the summer house the other night, still got a discount, so that was nice.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
Dinner.
I saw that you guys had went there for the first time finally to go check it out, and I'm sure that was killer.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I guess if you want to talk somewhat about, now you say you're a year and a half into it. I'm going to pull up, I guess if you don't mind, I'm going to pull up the the Instagram page so we can kind of talk about that a little bit.
Mhm.
Let's see. And if you want me to, like, I'm gonna scroll through, and if there are certain ones that you want me to click on, you let me know. And if you want to talk about them, tell me what you want.
The round tray, the see-through round trays, that's something that Tim and I collaborate with. That one, yeah, it's really popular. People absolutely love this. I just was making Lazy Susans and little side tables with this wood here. And then I had an idea one day. I was just laying down. I was like, what if we cut out the center and I made see-through trays for people? And so Tim and I's brain got together and we did it. And that's what we came up with. And it's one of my favorite things that we came up with together.
Oh, that's so cool, man. I wanted, it was funny because when my nephew got married, I wanted to try to get one of these trays from you guys for him. But it was such short notice. Like, I didn't want to pressure you into doing that. So you get some time, you make a tray up like that, you just throw me a price and I'll come pick it up.
We do French discounts, all this stuff.
Now this one is a countertop that you recently did. Mm-hmm. And it's got like the full motion video of you kind of prepping it and getting it all ready. I guess, can you talk about like what goes into you doing these countertops like this? Because I know
that was I'm covering granite actually. So that was my very first granite cover. It was just part of this kitchen that they had, and they never used it. So they wanted to turn it into art, and so they found us at the Sarasota Farmers Market. And I came over, I always do assessments to make sure I could do everything. And I also called my resin company and they talked me through how to prep new stations and situations. So I called them, they let me know exactly how to prep that countertop. And I wanted to do little short clips of it because it's something brand new I've never done before. So I thought they were pretty cool. And then also, so you see people pop in, I let the people that are at the house, I let them watch me sometimes because I think it's really interesting.
That probably gets them excited too, to see what it is that you're doing and how it's going to turn out. And
yeah, and I talk with them throughout everything. We always go through colors together. I talk about where you want your shells, how many shells. She went out and she picked all of the shells, and she had so much fun doing it. And then I just talk about how she wants their waves and everything like that to make sure it's still mine, but also theirs as well.
Yeah, it's customized to their liking and shit. That's so cool.
Yeah, so everyone's just different colors and all that fun stuff. I have another one coming up in 2 weeks out on Anna Maria Island on Holmes Beach. So that'll be fun. I'll get some videos of that too going.
That's awesome. I love these trays that you make now too.
Yeah, those are fun too. Yeah, those are a little bit smaller, and so those are definitely even more affordable. But those are fun too because I love the see-through. I love to see everything. I don't know, it's just my thing.
Oh, that's so cool. Now I know a big thing with you guys is the trays, the dog trays and stuff that you guys do. Can you talk about like this live edge and how you work with that?
Yeah, so we have a couple guys for wood places, and so we go out, we check out all of their slabs of wood, and we measure them, and we talk with also certain customers, and a lot of them are commissioned orders, so we'll go out and we'll find the wood that they want and the colors and everything like that, and how many animals they have, and we'll cut how many holes that they need. And so Tim will go and get the wood, and then I am good at everything. He'll do the wood cutting, but I do the sanding, and I do all the resin, and I do all the finishing. And so we have a lot of fun doing those. We actually have a lady interested in doing a 12 cat one.
Wow.
So we just kind of want to do it just for the picture of 12 cats eating it.
That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. You got two big rats here.
So we love when people send the pictures of their animals because we want to see how cute they are.
No, that's awesome.
And there's more dogs in Sarasota, I think, than people. So
now you do a lot of the serving trays as well, surfboard style, and I think that's super cool that you guys do that. Could you talk about, I guess, what you guys do here and the market that you're trying to hit with the serving table style? Yeah,
so we call it functional art. So these are charcuterie boards. So I use tabletop epoxy. It's food safe, and you can serve up to 125 degrees with it. So if you want to serve hot dips on top of it with your charcuterie or bread or whatever you want to do. And so they just make beautiful presentations. I have a couple companies that order them just because all they do is present food, and they love them, and everybody that they have the parties for love them. And so we make a lot of those.
Yeah, no,
they're smaller. You can take them if you're on vacation at the farmer's market. It's something you can take home from Sarasota also. So We make big things and also things that you can put in your backpack or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess here's some more countertops, like bigger countertops that you worked on.
That one was fun too. That was at Bradenton somewhere down there, and they have a whole thing going on. So that was another collaboration with Tim and I. So I did the ocean on top of this part of their bar, and then on the front of it, Tim did some pallets with a cutout of a marlin. And then on the back behind this area is just all sand with a bunch of seashells that the lady picked out for herself as well. And so it's and then also some more Tim art behind it. It's pallets with some glowing jellyfish. So that was a very, very fun big project for both of us, actually.
Now, I don't know if you mentioned too much about Total Boat and what it is that you do, I guess, with them as far as, because you use their product, right? As far as for some of the stuff you do. Can you talk about that?
So yeah, they're the best company. I've been using them for years now. And I'm actually an ambassador for the company. They started seeing all the pictures that I tagged them in on Tim's page and my page on Instagram, and they just fell in love with how quickly I grasped this resin technique. And so we talk to them on the phone and emails all the time, and they sent us a bunch of memorabilia so we can advertise them everywhere we go. They have high UV resistance. They're scratch resistant, but not scratch proof. Last just a long, like just forever. They're just the nicest people too. They're based out of Rhode Island. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to show, I guess, more of these countertops that you've done, like, because I know you're the one who does the finishing and the resin pours inside the octopus, and you know, so
Tim hand-routed that out. Actually, that's not even all the way through. I think that is about a ½ inch deep. So he hand-routed that out, and then just sand it down and fill it in with some cool silver color. I love that table. So that's on a yacht. And it actually, they twist it off so they can wrap it up and put it away so it stays nice forever.
Yeah. Thank God they do that, because that's a beautiful piece, actually. I'm like, that's a piece of art that you don't even want to put a cup or anything on. You're like,
right?
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
And like resin is not meant for outdoors. If you put it outside, you just remember to bring it back inside is basically what I always tell people. So it doesn't like to be in the sun very long.
Yeah.
So it's more of an indoor art.
Let me see, because I know you guys worked on this table. Can you talk what goes into doing something like this? Because I know this is, nothing that's easy at all.
No, yeah. So we get melamine boards or laminate boards from Home Depot, very, very, very long, the same size as the wood. Tim will cut the wood right down the middle, and then we get clamps. I clamp the wood down as hard as I can, and then I use tuck tape, which doesn't stick to resin, to cover all the edges. And then you have to do seal coats just to make sure that it doesn't leak underneath too much. So when you pour it, it doesn't just go away. And then I do a shell design, and I use all the shells from Lido Beach and the sand as well. And this is a commission table. So I place the shells and I contact the client and I make sure that they like the way it looks. And we talk about how much blue they want and the waves and all that. And so I just keep in contact and create this beautiful table.
Yeah, that is. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm trying to see. Here's another bar that you did, but I like these bowls too. Like, this is the cool idea that you do. Can you talk about what went into this? Because this is like a really cool idea. Like, I love the bowls, like, style, and that you still did the resin art at the base of it. Like, can you talk about those and what goes into those?
Yeah. So I went online and I just looked up different types of wood and charcuterie boards, and then these bowls popped up. I was like, wow, that's a really interesting shape. And so I ordered them, and it was a nice, decent size. And I was like, oh, well, we can make this into, it could hold fruit and vegetables in the kitchen. It could hold a lady's jewelry in her bedroom. I mean, you name it, you can put something in there, but just a little splash of the ocean for decoration in your house.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And then, like, yeah, I love the way that wood looked. It was just so cool.
Yeah, I was when I was looking through it all earlier, I was like, man, these bows look so cool.
Yeah.
Like that looks like something like that would be in my old grandmother's house. I mean, with minus the wave.
Oh yeah, just the wood part. Yeah, there you go.
Like they didn't have anything that like that just yet.
Oh right.
I guess can we talk about these like the jewelry holders and stuff that you make as well? Like these are really cool ideas as to.
Yeah, so it's a cute little mold that I got, and then I also have little mermaid tail molds. And then one day I was like, I'm gonna put these two together and make a little look like the mermaids diving into the ocean. And then I thought it'd be a cool little jewelry thing. It was just another random thing that I come up with.
No, that's so cool though.
Yeah, I'll see something, and then days will go by, and then I'll just create things. Will just come to me. And so
I'm like, I got to be careful with things like this. If Gia sees this, she's gonna be like, Dad, that's what I want.
Oh yeah, no, and those are perfect. And they're small, so they're perfect for little girls or women. So yeah, and they're not even that expensive either. So.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. I think I know.
See here, up there, go up again.
Sorry, go ahead. Tell me which one.
The shark.
Yes.
And we have something happening here in the next couple of weeks to months. I'm not really sure. It's when the house is finished. I'm going to be making an 8-foot one of those for Lucas Lagoons.
Holy smokes!
You know that they do those insane pool shows on HGTV.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with them very soon. Tim just did a table for them with it was like a root table. So.
Can you talk about what's in the base of that shark? Is it shark's teeth that you have in the?
So we have friends, lots of nice people that bring us shark's teeth or shells that they'll get. They'll just bring it to our booth or to our house. It's really nice. And so that's Lido Key sand again, and then real shark's teeth, usually from the Venice area. And then so I just plop those around and then do a couple waves, and yeah, we love it. Thank you.
I guess if you want, what I'm gonna do with you now is I'm gonna pull this. Let me see. I'll pull this down for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and put you solo screen. Let you kind of, put the business out there. Tell people where they can find you at, and how they can get in contact with you and Tim, and look at your art, and possibly be able to find you guys to purchase some of your art, if that's okay.
Okay. All right, so right now we are doing a lot of commissions, and so we're doing Sundays only at St. Pete Beach, and that runs from 9 until 1 every Sunday. We're usually there, except for tomorrow because it's Halloween. And then you can find us at StellerArtworks.com. You can contact on Messenger through Tim Steller on IG or through Steller Impressions on IG. You can find us on Facebook with Tim Steller as well. So just phone number, email, anything like that, because we do mostly commissions, especially since we have cut down on the markets. And we'll have upcoming art shows coming in November and December as well for the holiday season, but we haven't pinpointed exactly which ones yet. So for now, we're on the low, I guess you could say.
Sorry, I was trying to pop myself back in there, but I was removing myself from the screen. No, that's so awesome. You guys are truly an inspiration to so many couples out there that are looking to get into their own business, man. I mean, art is such a huge open platform for everyone. Many people do many different forms of art, whether it's music or, art like you guys are doing with both the resin and the wood. And, this is my little form of art, is by me getting out here and doing this and helping, bringing people out here and kind of, talking about themselves and letting people know a little bit more into the artists and the professionals that we know that are out there, and they may be local, but they're looking to make it big too. So I appreciate you.
I took a couple and it worked out, so you can do it too.
That's the truth. I guess now at this point, what I'm going to do with you is I do this funny part of the show where I do pick your poison. And I think I did it with Tim on his second one. By the time he was on for the first show, I mean, he was only on episode 2. So it was like, I don't think I was doing this quite yet. Soon after I started doing Pick Your Poison. And what I do is I give you a couple either or questions, some things that have to go into your background, and you just tell me either or, and then a little bit of reason why. Okay. The first one is, would you prefer Washington or Florida?
Florida.
Why?
Millions of reasons at this point. No, lots of reasons. I actually thought that I was going to go back home after a year or two, and it's now been 10 years. So I really feel, I think because I've made it my own home, I feel very happy here, I guess you could say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. My second one is, would you prefer food and beverage or art?
Art, absolutely. Food and beverage is nice. It's just a little stressful. Art, it takes time sometimes. You can get a little held back. You can get down in the dumps a little funky. But when you come out of it, you can actually create something even better that you thought of than before. So definitely art.
Awesome. And then I guess my last question for you is, do you prefer working for someone else or working for yourself?
Well, that's an easy question. Everybody says yourself, silly. I do like working by myself, but I do miss, having coworkers, because you get to have that banter. And so I kind of miss co-work banter for sure, but I do like working alone better.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's funny though. Some people get them on. They're like, well, I don't mind working for somebody else because they got to worry about all the back end side of things, and dealing with other people. And all I got to do is do my job, and I can go home at the end of the night and sleep peacefully. But, when you got a fun job like what you and Tim are doing, man, how could you not want to work for yourself? So.
Exactly. We're doing pretty good. We're very happy right now. So we're blessed.
That's so cool. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show today. I know you were trying to squeeze it in. We're both family people, so we're running around tomorrow. I didn't want to bother anybody on a Sunday. It's like bother anybody on a Sunday night and have them doing any kind of Halloween things. But I do have the Halloween background for us.
That's good. I like it. Cool.
Yeah, it's like I said, just want to thank you again for coming on, speaking your piece. Yeah, talking about what it is that you do, and and what I'll do now at this time is I'll drop you backstage, do my little outro, and then we'll chat right afterwards. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Tony.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, so that was Ashley Steller. Super excited to have her on. Like I said, I've been trying to get her on because she was really kicking it off with the resin art and what she's been doing. I think she has a great story. I really wanted to talk about that story. Her coming from somewhere like a Seattle, which is very big into art, all kinds of forms of art. And I think that plays a role into the artist that she is today. And I think it's huge to have that as a background. People have to have their influences, and that's what's big in what we're doing all around, because we want to have influences. We want to have something that describes our art in a way, and I think she's doing a good job of doing that. Her and Tim have been working their butts off, and they're doing a great job at it, and taking care of their family. And that's what's important, is that you're able to do this and take care of your family and, make a good living and live the life that you want to live. So big shout out to Steller Artworks, Steller Impressions. Couldn't be happier for them and their family. I love those people so much and appreciate what it is that, they do. And, I'll keep bringing them on because, we'll keep following up with what it is that they're doing, because they're close friends of mine and totally appreciate what it is that they do. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do my final I usually do a final quote of the night. Tonight, I'm not going to do so much of a quote. It's going to be more of just, talking about a trip I just recently made. I just took a trip back home last weekend for the funeral of a friend of mine when I was a kid, and his name was Hector Guzman. And I went back home to show some respect for what it was that we all played a part in each other's lives for. And it was nice to see that a lot of people came out and showed their respect as well. Of course, it was a sad service because he's still a young man. He was only 44 years old. So it really hit home for me because, back when we were kids, we all thought that, 44 was old. But it's now that we're there, we realize that it's not that old. And it was sad to see his family upset and still kind of shocked of what had happened. But it was nice to see everybody there celebrating his life. And, I got to see a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time and catch up. And, we talked about some good times and talked about all these times we did when we were kids and just really had a good time catching up with people that I hadn't seen in many years, and appreciated the fact that they were so welcoming for me to come back home, and were excited for me to come back home. And like I said, it was for us a sad moment, but it was also, kind of a blessing to go back home and see all these people during this time. So I just want to give a shout out and a rest in peace to Hector Guzman. We appreciate you, my man. Sorry for your family, but know that we're all praying for you guys, and we'll be out there for you if you ever need anything. So with that being said, The Business, Let's Be Real, episode 40, over, out.